All right, so I haven't done one of these in a very long time, and I apologize for that. Um, so much has happened since August that I can't even summarize it quickly for you because it's been that crazy. But I would like to take this blog post to discuss why I'm so thankful for kindergarten. But first, I would like to describe what kindergarten has been so far. So, the beginning of kindergarten, I came in 5 weeks in. I was transferred from fourth grade. Um, I wanted to quit teaching altogether. I said, this is probably the worst job you can ever take. I don't know why anyone in their right mind would want to teach kindergarten. This is the worst job on the planet. I apologize. But I was there and I was living it, and I told myself, I will love this by the end of the year. I will. I told myself, this will happen. I will love it. And here is the end of the year. It's very soon, and I love it. I was right, and I told myself I would, and I do. I absolutely love it. I take back what I said about people not being in their right mind, because that wasn't very nice. But I do. I love it. But it has absolutely been the hardest thing that I have ever done, and I'm very proud of myself for it and surviving it. And not only surviving it, but I did really well. If I'm being honest with myself, I did really well, and that's not something that I do often is compliment myself. But when I look at everything that we've done as a class and everything that I've done with them, I'm very proud of what I've done with them. So I'm looking at my notes here. At the end of my last year of teaching, now that was, of course, my first year of teaching. This will be my second. I did not feel nearly as accomplished as I did that year as I do this year. And I don't know if that's normal, if most people in their second year of teaching feel that way. But I definitely feel like this year I have done so much more academically with them than I did last year with my fifth graders. And I don't know if that's just because they're kindergartners and they just soak in everything, like people have been telling me, because they really do just grow. Like you don't even recognize them by the end of the year. But I feel like this did not happen last year. It didn't happen. No questions asked. It just didn't occur. So for that growth to be seen by them, and I see that, I see how I have changed that. I think the biggest reason for that change has got to be the level of responsibility that I let them have. And I remember last year just being so strict. No, you can't do this. I am in charge. Me, 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 me. It was all about me and what I wanted as the teacher. And I read a lot of books, and I read a lot of articles, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I researched a lot of different teachers. I talked to my teacher friends, and I said, I want this, but I don't know how to get there. And I remember my professor saying, if you want that independent classroom where they run the school, then you have to let go. That is so hard to do. Sorry, my dog loves me right now. But it's not going to happen. So, not now. So I will learn how to edit videos because, okay, are you done? But it's hard. It's been really hard, but I love it now. The other reasons I'm thankful for having kindergarten have been because now I feel like I can do any grade level and be okay. I can confidently say that. My principal asked me at the end of the year, he's like, do you want to go back to fourth grade? Do you want to try fifth grade again? Do you want to stay in kindergarten? Like, what do you want to do? And I said, honestly, you can put me anywhere. I feel like I can do anything now. I may not be able to take on middle school just yet because I look like them still, but I feel like you can put me anywhere K through 5, and I would be okay with that, and I would. So I don't know. It's interesting that boost of confidence that I feel just from teaching kindergarten. I really do feel like I can do anything. Another thing that kindergarten has taught me, which I knew I was not good at from being in college. I mean, this was something that I knew I struggled with, but I still never knew how to fix it, was my language with students. And not that I would yell or anything, it's just how I would communicate thoughts with them. I knew that it was weak. I knew that I was poor in that area, but I didn't know how to change it. I saw teachers teaching in that way, but I had this vision that in order to talk to little kids, you had to talk like Elmo or like a cartoon character and say, "Oh my gosh, I love that," and be very animated in a fake way. Like I saw it as fake. Now, I definitely disagree with that now. I think that there is absolutely a way to speak to kids that are younger, but not treat them like they're babies or robots or plastic. I don't know. There's just a better way. And I speak to my kindergartners very differently than I did with fourth and fifth grade, but also very similar. I have learned so much to cut out the sarcasm. That was a huge, huge part of it. And I blamed it on my personality. I said, well, that's just how I am. I'm very dry and sarcastic. Well, you learn that there is a time and a place for sarcasm. And in a kindergarten classroom, especially when you're trying to teach and be serious, that is not a time or a place for sarcasm. Some of my students get it every now and then if we're like in a not very serious time, like if we're passing in the halls or whatever, but I very rarely, if ever, use sarcasm in my everyday language now. And I've even stopped doing it just in my regular conversations with my friends and my family, even because I had to train myself. Sarcasm is not welcomed in the classroom. And I've also learned to be so specific in my directions when I talk to my students as a class, as a group of kids, or as an individual. I have to tell them step by step exactly what I want, and I've learned to also make them repeat it back to me, just in case, like, I'm not sure, like, I can see on your face you're not really hearing what I'm saying. Let me have you repeat it back to me just to make sure. So I think that if I teach any other grade that's even older, I will still be that explicit with my instructions and with my directions, because having that very specific feedback, is vital to your communication with them. And I've learned to positively communicate my expectations to them, and they have learned, because they have heard me talk, and of course this is kindergarten, so they mock everything that you do. They have learned to communicate with me back in that way. So if I say, I don't understand what you mean, they'll try their very best to have that conversation with me. So that's been another really big piece of it too. So just to recap, I did not feel this way at the end of fifth grade. I feel like I've absolutely grown so much as an educator. I feel like my language has improved dramatically with students and with being specific. Lastly, I think that my overall perspective of K-5 education has just opened up this door of I get it. Like there was like a click where I was like, I understand now. I think I get it. I have experience in third grade with my internship. I started fourth grade. I can't really say I taught fourth grade. I started there. And now I have kindergarten, and I taught fifth grade last year. So now I'm seeing like, oh, I see where that skill in kindergarten is now used and utilized in fifth grade when I was teaching them that skill in fifth grade. I see like those parallels between the standards, and that I had a slight parallel with it with fourth grade, but I see it. It's all just like it just goes together, and I really love it. So I'm going to post another video about how my short-term goals go along with that as well, and how kindergarten has shaped that. But overall, kindergarten has been the hardest thing I've ever done. It's been the most rewarding year I can ever imagine. I'm still very young and very new to all of this, so I hope to continue learning through them, and this has been the best experience I can ever think of, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. I would have never done it voluntarily on my own, but I think that with that being said, it wouldn't have been as good as it was because um, it was that struggle to like I was crying every day after work to I look forward to waking up in the morning now to go see them because I love teaching them. I love being with them. I love the experiences that we have. They're absolutely hilarious. They are everything and more that everybody told me they would be. They are brutally honest and they tell you everything whether you want to hear it or not. But it's been a wonderful year and I'm very, very glad for the kindergarten experience.